Ah, the stuff that dreams are made of. When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it. Oh, this movie is nothing but quotes. Today on the How to Be a Movie Snob, we go through the Maltese Falcon, John Huston's 1941, starring Humphrey Bogart and Mary Astor. It is the classic, if not the blueprint for all film noir to come after it. And this week we had Mariah, myself, and Patrick going through all the twists and turns of Sam Spade. And when you try to figure out what is going on in this movie. But it is a treat. You get to see amazing characters and witty dialogue. And frankly, you get a movie from 1941 that's quite watchable in 2023. Sit back, have a listen, and enjoy our podcast on the Maltese Falcon.
He's alive. Oh, he's alive.
I'm not singing for it. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I love you.
I know.
Here's Johnny.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I see dead people.
Milk was a bad choice.
Hello and welcome to the How to Be a Movie Snob podcast.
Good evening.
Starring the lovely and already drinking whiskey,
Seth Halligan.
and Mariah. It's just getting our creative juices flowing so we can really dive in to this femme fatale film noir classic. But this week we have our special guest, which some would call it a regular guest who comes on every show now, but we're going to call the...
He's still special to us.
He's very special to us, and he's as much of a cinephile, if not more. So we're going to call Mr. Pat Gillette, see if he's at practice. Oh, let's see what awesome background noises we're going to get this time. Hello. Hey, Pat.
You talking about my background noise?
Yes. So waiting for like
My signature background noise?
That's right. Exactly right. What practice or whistles are going to go in the background? Good evening,
Okay.
sir. How goes it? How you doing this evening?
Oh, just dandy.
Just dandy.
How are you?
Indeed. Quite well, quite well. We had a week off of recording, so this is a kind of a welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like all the equipment is still working, so we are in business.
Good. Hey, Seth.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thanks, man.
Welcome back.
Thanks. It's good
Mariah.
to be back.
Welcome back to you.
I was going to say that to you. Welcome back. Thank you.
I win.
Whew, just beat it. All right.
It's a race.
It's a race and you win.
Hey, I am weenie.
Winning. Another classic.
Ooh.
Hey,
So,
rat race. When are we going to do that?
oh, rat race. We're just living it, Pat.
Coming right up.
Just living it. So today we are doing one of the classics of all classics. Although I had not seen it in its entirety until 2 weeks ago. So is this your first time watching it, Mariah?
No.
Oh, Patrick, what about you?
First time for me watching it in its entirety. I'm sure I've seen bits and pieces.
Well, it's hard because it's so referenced and you don't realize that until you go through it. You're like, oh, I see what's going on.
Yeah, that's a trend
here.
with some of these things.
Yeah, right. Oh, wait, that's why we're doing this.
That's what that's from.
That's what that's from. And this one, I was actually, as a huge Casablanca fan, it was kind of a weird, like, oh, it's a lot similar. And then I started to realize why. I mean, obviously Humphrey Bogart, but then also like how it's shot and some things. So I'm like, oh, but it's also John Huston pre-war. So there's a lot of factors here. So let's start with it, as we always do, the plot. Mariah, you usually take it away. You want to lead off and just tell us what happens in Maltese Falcon? Oh, which is going to be freaking hard. I literally heard someone say it's quicker to watch the movie than to try to explain the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many characters and lies about what's actually happening.
It's so true.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, which version of the truth do we want?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, long story short, a lady walks into a detective agency asks for help for various excuses that she comes up with throughout the film for why she needs all this help. She's a knockout.
Oh, that was my favorite part.
The secretary
You're gonna want to
sure
talk to
thought
Hal.
so. Yeah.
Oh my
She's a looker. And yeah, needs some help, gives him some money. The partner's all over helping out. So there was a rendezvous that night. Partner dies. And
mysterious circumstances, of course.
Yes, of course. And her name changes. And the next scene with her.
Oh, like 4 times in that one scene. It's exhausting.
Yeah. Are you? Are you your sister? O'Shaughnessy is where we settled. Yeah. I think settling on O'Shaughnessy was good.
That was when we watched the parody of it, and the parody was not. It was just the same ridiculous as the actual movie.
Yeah.
for the name part.
Yeah. Well, as the story unfolds, you're introduced to all the main characters, and it kind of sets you up for who's playing what part in this hunt for a priceless artifact that has disappeared and reappeared, and anyway.
Who's actually doing what, and what is it, and yeah.
What is it?
There was that.
Who's paying him the most money to find it?
And
how many lies does this lady have to tell him before he stops making out with her? And
the thing is, it seems like he's the Sam, our Sam Spade. He is the orchestra leader in the symphony of lies. He's the one going through it and just having a grand old time playing each instrument against itself in the symphony of lies, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that analogy holds up, Seth, now that you got it out there?
Yeah, well, I started it, and I'm like, well, I'm committed now, so I guess we're going with symphony.
The Puppet Master.
Puppet Master been good, too, but I was really into that, multiple instruments thing. The string section is a doozy.
I mean, to keep it musically, he was like, he's an improver, basically, right? Like, he'll lead.
Ooh, more jazzy than,
He's able to, pick up where he needs to.
Yeah, the Miles Davis of film noir, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the plot is ridiculous, but...
They find a bird.
Yeah. There's a bird that's worth money, maybe. And you'll never, and that's the crazy part. You still don't even know.
They found the stuff dreams are made of.
That's right. The quotes are.
Speaking of that, we start on a scrawl of
good one.
What the Maltese Falcon is.
Yeah.
But then one of the best scenes is Gutman talking about what it is. It kind of felt like I didn't need to know
a little repetitive,
until the mid-movie review, but I wonder if somebody was like, what is it? Like, why are we even...
Oh, honestly, there's so many plot points at that point. You're like, okay, I honestly don't remember what I'm doing here. Okay, what's going on?
Well, yeah, and there's a little bit of like, well, where's the Falcon going to come into this? Mm-hmm. Or the Falcon, depending on who's saying it.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of distracted me a little bit that I was waiting for that to become... some aspect of the stories. And it really doesn't come in until way later.
No.
Obviously, it's the driver for everybody, but we don't know that.
No.
That was interesting.
What the scrawl in the beginning said, what it got me to do was instantly Google, is the Maltese Falcon real? Is this a thing? Are there those?
It is not.
Well, it's not a thing. It's not this thing.
But it is not.
Sure.
There's we can get into later. The actual prop from the movie.
There were gifts of birds.
Oh, okay.
They're worth like millions of dollars at this point. So
okay, so like there is an actual item that the Maltese Falcon is kind of loosely based on, is what you're saying?
Yeah, Charles V was paid rent in.
Oh, like in legit, like.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, and I think, people have little decorative, fancy things, but I meant the actual props, the Maltese Falcon props from the movie.
Oh, sure.
Are now worth like $1 million.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't Leonardo DiCaprio owns the
Yes, apparently it was in
No
the
way.
background of
That's dope.
Once
Yeah.
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's right.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the immediate and kind of in your face misogyny, sexist
Well, I was like,
remarks? I was like, oh, okay, right. It
was like,
dissipates
oh.
a little.
yeah, it does. And I actually expected a whole lot more, to be honest. Because once it started out with the secretary, like, oh, she's a hot commodity. You want to get it.
Well, and I heard, what was it? Sweetheart, honey,
All of them. Oh,
doll,
Yeah.
like all
Doll
in like
face.
5 minutes.
man.
And it was like, whew.
Oh, man.
And the leering Archer just
leering.
leering at her.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
real creepy at first. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The married with children partner.
Yeah.
He's like, I saw her first.
Right, dibs. He's got his MBA. He's married but available.
Well, you might have seen her first, but I said something.
Yeah, I
That's
said
right.
something.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that it really felt like, okay, this is going to be so painful. But then it really wasn't as bad as we thought later. Because then it felt like everyone's playing each other. So it felt like everyone was on equal ground, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah, because O'Shaughnessy was such a, manipulator. It was like, okay, you know, she's on equal footing in a lot of ways with Sam Spade. And then Effie, the secretary, also like, I mean, she was probably, Mariah, I'd be curious your thoughts, maybe relegated, but she seemed to kind of like, like clearly she's running things. She knows what's up. She's reliable. It felt like she wasn't, obviously her life revolved around these men, I guess, which is maybe where it's not a
Felt
modern
a little
view.
felt a little bit Perry Mason-esque.
Yeah,
but
she's pretty.
But I didn't think she was like meek or not. I don't know.
No.
I found her characterization in general maybe light, but not. I don't know. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But I'm a man. So
She's kind of Janine Ghostbusters.
Oh, there we go. Janine, but Janine was badass.
yeah. Well, I kind of felt like she
I
would have
think
slapped
Effie was
Sam
kinda-
Spade if she needed to.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
You know.
No, she did show more teeth later in the movie for sure.
I mean, she almost cried at the dead body, which was pretty embarrassing. But
Yeah. Come on.
It's just a body.
she held it together.
And
I
she
do
was
like a
fine
lot
when
of that.
she was fine when he left it with her. She
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah,
didn't.
she's
She
like,
was
I'll
just
just sit here.
yeah. She was just taken aback the first time she saw.
That was John Huston's father playing the dead body.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was his uncredited.
Oh, John Huston's dad was in that one. Oh, I thought it was just...
Apparently, little side story. Apparently, John Huston. Apparently, a lot of pranks going on in this movie, which
Yeah.
is interesting since some of the pranks are like pretty not okay anymore. But one of them apparently was they pretended John Huston had someone call his father to be like, "Hey, we looked at the dailies. We need you to come back in."
Oh, I heard this one.
It's
Yeah.
like you did such a bad job.
Yep, I heard this one.
And then he jumped on the phone to be like the head of the studio. He's like, "I already said I'm going to come back in." I thought that was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny, just messing with your old man like that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, John. I see your angle here, buddy. Okay. Are we going to jump into the John Huston thing first, or what should we do? Because he's the craziest. Like, Humphrey Bogart doesn't hold a candle to John Huston's life. You know what I mean? Like,
Get into it, Seth.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, he's already killed a person at this point, allegedly, or he's taken the rap for
Oh.
Cary Grant, right? Because the hit and run.
Oh, I don't know
was
this.
before- oh,
I
gosh.
didn't deep dive on.
Oh, and I didn't.
I remember
you don't
that
have,
about Cary Grant, but I didn't remember.
You don't
that
have to
he was
deep
the
dive.
one that-
So, because it's like, yeah, when John Huston, rumor is, so there's two things. Either John Huston hit and run, drunk off his ass, kill a guy, or his dad said, you need to take the fall for this so Cary Grant doesn't. And so that's the two kind of like theories going out there. Needless to say, he's still like he got off. Like he didn't like obviously go to jail or anything, but killing someone when you're drunk driving was a different ballgame back then.
Yeah, apparently that was just a slap on the
Oh
hand,
my
huh?
gosh. And because John Huston was like the premier writer, because this is his first movie.
By then he was not
Right.
in the public director guy.
Right. So he wouldn't have had like a face. Everyone would have known him, even though he was known in Hollywood. He wouldn't have been known like he was known after Maltese Falcon.
It wouldn't have ruined his image.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Which is crazy because the rumor was that it really was Clark Gable, and then
Wait,
either
Clark Gable or Cary Grant?
Oh, did I say Cary Grant? It's Clark Gable.
Oh,
You did.
I'm sorry. That's
that sounds more familiar.
Clark Gable sounds more legit.
What's interesting about that is, I think, and of course I'm going to forget details.
Okay.
I don't think anyone really gave two hoots about drunk driving until there was someone killed a Hollywood actress, or writer. She was a writer. Gosh, what was this?
No, this is the same story, dog. No, it's an actress. Because he killed, who was it? It was the wife of actor Raoul Rullin, and she was famous too. She was Tosca Rullin. She was like an actress. So I think this is that incident where it became like a bigger deal.
I think I'm thinking of something different.
Oh, okay. Maybe you are. But this one was
certainly at the time.
This one was a big deal.
Wasn't a
he
huge
killed another actor, or Clark Gable killed another actor. So it's just this crazy. And
Was he just driving around the lot and there were just actors in the way?
I don't know.
Just crazy.
I don't know.
What are
But
the chances I hit somebody I know?
Houston was already known for being like the guy who sleeps around and drinks around at that point as a writer. So like he was already this like playboy writer at that point. And then he was even more so when he became a director.
Yeah.
Which I really had no idea, because it's like he didn't sleep with every actress he worked with, but a lot of them. So it's
and
just
procreated with enough people that there's a lot of half sisters and brothers out there.
Angelica's not alone. Let's put it that way.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Well, apparently he and Mary were having a fling during this movie.
That's the least surprising thing I've ever heard. Okay. Mariah, how attractive is Humphrey Bogart? I honestly don't know. I love him in his roles. Casablanca's like my top 5 movie of all time, but is he attractive?
More so in the Maltese Falcon. I mean,
Oh, he is
partially
younger
because
than
it's
that, yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
I think he's a little more clever. I think he's a little sharper.
Oh, he's so clever. It's almost obnoxiously clever in this movie. Are we going to talk about that?
He seems to have everybody kind of figured out.
Yeah. Okay.
He has something.
Yeah. No, he definitely has an air to him for sure.
He wouldn't have married somebody 30 years younger than him if he didn't have his little something.
Well, he wouldn't keep his role as a leading Hollywood man if he didn't have something. So no, there's definitely something, like there's an air to him. I definitely acknowledge, but the attractiveness, it's like some people are just like,
he is.
Okay.
Because I liked him in Sabrina, and he was pretty old there.
That's fair. Okay, so Walter Houston, this is his first like green light to like direct, which is pretty cool. And then apparently this story was one that people have tried to do before, but they just didn't do well. Yeah.
Yeah, there was 2 other versions.
That's crazy.
One the same name.
I don't know if one of them was bad or if it was just so close to the book that they included things that really shocked people.
Oh,
and they
is
were
the book like way sketchier?
There's 2.
They're more open about drinking and sex and homosexuality. And
Oh wow, that had been big deals back then.
Yeah, it was just followed a little too closely, so they did release it eventually, but it was like 2 years after I think they'd made it.
Interesting.
And it was kind of blackballed. People were like, no, don't watch this. We're not promoting it.
Right, because it's all post Hays codes and all that. So interesting. Okay, so that was Houston's first film. Okay, here's the part I couldn't find much information about this guy, but it was fascinating to me, is the cinematographer. He's also the same cinematographer who the next year did Casablanca. He's also the same cinematographer who did Frankenstein. He's also the same cinematographer who did All Quiet on the Western Front and The Thief of Baghdad. And before that, he has a crap ton of silent films that he did. So this whole Humphrey, like I kept thinking like, this is where I always have the conversation, like how important is the director versus the cinematographer? Because
that's what's interesting too is because this one, because it was Huston's first movie, he storyboarded out the entire thing, like basically in the script. And
which
so
they did not do.
No
one had done that.
No, don't that big at that time.
No
right?
one really did that.
Now it's like
I think
standard
Hitchcock
fare.
kind of did, and Spielberg. I think there's actually still very few directors who do it that in depth, and I don't think he even did it that much afterward.
Right.
But because it was his first one, he wanted to do it. So, there's scenes set up, obviously, that the director is going to do. The director of photography,
DOP,
baby. Photographer, yeah, they're going to do lighting, right? Well, the lighting is all of them. And then some camera angles. I did read some stuff where he was definitely, low angle, or they have to figure out some of the logistics of like that 7-minute shot and stuff.
Right.
But in theory, the director is coming up with the ideas of each of the shots.
So
and then the director of photography is making sure you can actually see what you're looking at and adds mood. And
I would argue it depends on the director, because some directors are totally hands off. They don't care which length of lens you use. They don't care. Like,
yes,
it's like the DP does.
But I think if you look
at
the traditional role,
sure. That's a good question. I don't know.
Meant to split that way.
Right.
But if Roger Deakins, your cinematographer, you
exactly
let him
right. You let him do what he wants, right?
Possible.
And you kind of, and that's what I think, and that's what I wonder though, because with Arthur Edison, like he's one of those like guys that like started the biz. Like he's so OG, and he's already been in that. Like he's at the end of his career by the time he films Maltese Falcon, and this is literally John Huston's first one. So
I'm curious to see how much he'd worked with. Is it William Huston, his dad?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm wondering if he'd worked with him before, or he'd been the cinematographer in one of the movies that he'd written before directing, or maybe
I don't know.
Maybe they'd already had a. I did not deep dive that, but
I don't think there's nothing. Doesn't seem to be that connection.
Well, let's make it up.
But his dad was in.
Up.
His dad had been in stuff before.
Yeah, tons of stuff. That'd be a good question. The things he's known for.
To be continued on that subject.
Well, it's hard because he started in 1914. The cinematographer started in like 1914, and so then when he started doing, he was like one of the first guys to film sound outside of a soundstage.
Right.
He's the first one to try that, and he was like, so.
So it might have been just it's your first direction,
right?
And let's pick some seasoned
Pair
cinematographer. They didn't, and it was a B movie budget. They didn't have a lot
That's
of faith
true.
that it was going to
Good
go
call.
well, so they were like, "He's on his way out. He's really getting."
There's definitely a movie he did in 1921 called Girls Gone Wild. That is really funny.
How wild!
It's a musical.
I know we're not a research pod, but the research team
our
did
research
come up.
Oh, what they get?
Oh,
with the writer. So in 1949, Peggy Mitchell Marsh, the writer of Gone with the Wind, America's Sweetheart, was killed by an off-duty taxi man who drank too much.
Nice work.
And that kind of launched into
off-duty police officer
people being
too.
like, "Hey, maybe people shouldn't drink and drive."
Yeah.
But that wasn't until 1949.
Wow.
So
that
somebody
was,
very famous at the height of her, kind of powers, more or less.
Yeah.
Everybody
ran
more
over
from
by
her.
a police officer. Oh. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's some big doings. Nice job, research team.
That would definitely start some stuff.
We need to.
Yeah, but pre that, I think it was like, that's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. Oh, what a mess.
Accidents happen, kind of thing.
Oh, also, just another side note. The first movie where John Wayne was a star was also with the cinematographer from this movie.
There you go.
1930 Big Trail. Good night, John Wayne is old. He
Well,
was
he's
old.
dead.
Well, he was old, but he was
He's
old
not that old
when
now.
all those movies he did. He was old.
Stopped
in.
aging at one point.
Did he? I think he's still aging. Oh, whatever.
He worked a real long time, though.
He worked a real long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Speaking of older dudes that people thought were attractive.
Yeah, for real.
But to not deviate too far from the cinematography conversation,
Sure.
the lighting,
Oh,
very cool. I love
Very
the harsh
cool.
shadows.
Yeah,
Even some where I was like, whoa, that's pretty extreme. Like Archer
Yeah.
and Spade on the floor in the room.
yeah.
You're like, that's a bold choice. But when, the fact that this was generating all the stuff that, Looney Tunes and every
Oh,
other movie
100%.
after was
Oh, it felt so
kinda
much like
mimicked from a lighting
ugh.
standpoint, it was fantastic. And I especially
fantastic.
liked, when she's at the end and she's getting in the elevator and
Oh my
we just
gosh.
see the grates on her
Yep.
face. Like
The grates on the
harsh
face is
lighting
so
was
great.
super cool.
Oh, it's so great. No pun intended.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things I felt like held up. There was definitely some things, like I don't know if the script supervisor existed yet, but there's a shot early where Humphrey Bogart is like leaned forward
That's
as
great.
O'Shaughnessy's telling her first lie, and then cut to another angle
Yes,
and he's
and
leaned
it's like-
back in his chair.
it's like
And I
awkwardly,
said,
yep.
Hey,
Hey.
You
wait a
moved
minute.
quick.
So
We're
there's
on
some,
to you.
craft stuff that I thought, okay, that didn't age as well.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But still visually,
Keep up.
pretty good. And I wouldn't say its framing was as good as Seven Samurai, but the lighting held up.
Oh,
Yeah.
the lighting is like still standard. Also, what's standard in this movie is the way that you don't know what the camera's doing. The goal of the cinematographer is to not be noticed. And that kind of set the stage, which is still true today. So, like, you never break the 180 rule. You never break, which is like
Oh yeah, it's very clean.
very clean. And that's he's kind of the standard for that. These movies. These are like laying the groundwork for all of Hollywood. So it's hard because it's like, oh well, yeah, that's how you do it. Like, yeah, but these guys, like, this is the laying the groundwork for it. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So yeah, that's kind of another thing that's crazy too. Like, we just assume that's how all movies were shot, but the way they were
No,
overlapped
it's the first
over
film noir.
Yeah, and this is the first like major studio film noir.
Right.
Right. Exactly right. But this is that's the crazy thing. Like this is the example for the genre. Mm-hmm. And that's weird to even think. Like, it feels so, like, I don't want to say cartoonish, but because of Animaniacs and all these other
I know, but now that you said it, you can't unsay it because now all the slapping, all of it.
Oh,
it's so good.
Yeah, get
so
a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. A woman showing emotion, you just shake her a little bit.
right?
Settle down. You go home now. I know your husband's dead, but get out of here.
Remind me to stop sleeping with my partner's wife.
Yeah.
Right?
That was
A
not
messy
expecting
side
that.
story we didn't get a lot of.
No, well, that's the thing.
No.
It did. Now that you say that the book was way more scandalous, it makes way more sense. I'm like, 'cause that's a super scandalous side storyline. They're just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah,
They might have
my
given
understanding-
Iva a little bit more in the book.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
My understanding was, there was already some talk of, the partnership falling out, and all
Right.
this is adding up. But in the movie, right, we get like they seem hunky dory, although both lecherous dudes.
Yeah.
But then he's like, he's dead. All right, Effie, take his name off the wall
And keep that wife out of here.
Yeah, and get her away from me. And
'Cause
you're like,
I thought I
"Whoa."
told you to keep her busy.
Yeah, because that secretary
Like-
knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a little bit to be like, I guess they didn't like each other all that much.
It's so funny. Oh, that.
I did love. I think the other thing that's probably didn't establish, of course, but the kind of over the top characters, like Peter Lorre and Greenstreet, and
so
of course
great.
just Humphrey Bogart.
Wasn't this
like,
Peter Lorre's first movie?
Stone.
Like his first big movie? Because
It was
he's.
Sidney
Greenstreet's
Greenstreet's first film.
movie.
Oh, that's right.
the fat man, he had been like a stage actor or something before that.
Right.
But I loved how specific they were, right? Like nobody was
Lori
like
was a silent.
going for natural. I don't know. It was like big character choices that I loved. Like Green Street, his whole thing, Seth, the meme. I'm a man who likes to talk to.
I love that line so much. I'm like, that should be our podcast title. Like, I wanted to change How to Be a Movie Snob to I'm a man. Oh, it's just so good. He likes to talk to me.
It was so, and he just the complimenting. Oh, you're such a character. Yeah, and just how quick they all were. So, all that was like fantastic.
Well, the one it's honestly, it's kind of a boring movie if you didn't hear the dialogue. Nothing happens. They're just all dialogue. They're just in rooms talking. They're just in rooms talking.
A couple slap of hands and disarming guns. The amount of disarming
barely.
guns.
All the murders happen off screen.
Yeah, basically.
Thursby you never see.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who Thursby was.
No, exactly right.
He's just dead.
We don't have budget for one more guy to show in one scene.
We'll give him a name, but he doesn't get a part.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, even when he calls, there's a lot of phone calls of action happening.
That's right.
And it's like, hey, did you? He turns them all in. Hey, did you get them? And they just walk into the room. 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
That was probably some scene.
Evidence of the budget. Evidence of the budget.
But again, but it was
fine.
No, but it not only was it fine.
No, he did so well with
non-stop action, quote unquote, because there's no action at all. Yeah. But it felt like you were just constantly going. Like, I was not bored for a second on this one.
No,
there was no waiting.
Yeah, it was all.
Oh, it was just go go go. Like, so it felt like movement, constant.
Yes, it was mind games, and as the audience were trying to figure out, like, okay, what's the plan? Sam Spade.
Does he have a plan?
Why is he getting all angry and he's smashing the glass and he walks out and he smirks and you're like, what are you up to, Sam?
Like, what is what are you up to, Sam?
Yeah. We're sitting down in the hotel lobby and he's good.
Oh, it's so and there are a whole lot. Yeah, no, it was very fast paced, which is great. And it was compared to Seven Samurai, it's only runtime hour 40? What is it?
Or something. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was great.
Yeah, that was refreshing.
Oh, so 101 minutes. That's crazy. And so I also watched a couple of the Johnny Houston movies, including his World War II movie, and then I watched a little bit of Treasure of the
Sierra Madre.
And I was like, okay, but it still feels a lot, because especially since it's Bogart again too, which is super weird, like that connection. But it does feel like this is such a fun, the funness of like this innocence of like, oh, I'm just a fun, like I'm just doing whatever right now. Let's just make it happen and just get crazy dialogue and just go.
Yeah.
I thought it was somehow, it was still refreshing to watch it. It wasn't like as cartoonish as it's become. It was still honestly a fun watch, a very refreshing watch. So I felt like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like, this still feels like a very doable, watchable thing. This is a terrible comparison. Much like Gilmore Girls.
Are you gonna get into the fast talking?
Yeah, no, honestly, where it's so quick talking and clever that it's like, oh, but even more so than Gilmore Girls. Dare I say, better than Gilmore Girls? What? And then that it's the plot driving, figuring out what the plot actually is. Not even driving, but just figuring out what the plot is. Right. That's half the game.
Yeah, here. There's so many like neo noir things, right? Like the two more recent examples that I really like is like Kiss Bang Bang, Shane Black.
Oh, and
he's done a few things like The Nice Guys. The sort of like,
right. That's fun.
Semi-hapless, semi-clever detectives just figuring out what the hell is all this. Because Sam Spade was never really ahead of anything. right? He just
he just played well.
He was just,
He's just
figuring
figuring
it out.
and how it was going to benefit him.
Dude, he's the Patrick
and
Patrick Mahomes of film noir, baby.
Yeah.
Stinks on his feet.
And then, the other one, Brick, Ryan Johnson's
That's-
high school.
That's great.
Straight noir is like, yep, it's just this
Oh, that's
great. Like, anyway, it's so cool seeing how people have updated it without actually updating anything and how that works.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can just literally seriously have high schoolers do a, Maltese Falcon.
Well, and the
And it
ensemble,
Yeah.
the ensemble cast too. I felt like in this, everybody had a pretty significant piece of the story.
Oh,
And,
they
like,
all held their own.
Wilmer, I loved Wilmer. Oh man, at the beginning I was like,
His
oh,
shot.
that guy, that poor guy, and then I'm like, he's great. And then I
When he's
found out at the
like trembling,
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
that was like, ooh, he's acting.
Yeah.
There's some acting happening.
Yeah, and then I found out in the book he comes back and kills Casper Gutman. It's not that they just go to jail; he kills him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was
Well, that makes sense. He
Yeah.
had 2 guns.
Yeah, he's holding him the whole time.
exactly
Doesn't
right.
get to use them.
Doesn't do a dang thing. No, it
Just
was
listening to people say, "Let's have him take the fall."
right. I was so confused. I'm like, why doesn't he just murder everyone in the room? this
well,
is the
in the
dumbest
book,
thing I've
in
ever
the
seen.
book, he at least gets one of them.
I was so confused by that whole situation.
He got punched in the neck, so he had to sleep the whole time.
That was a dumb. I was like, okay, just move the plot along.
The ease in which people are knocked unconscious by
oh yeah,
a quick jab.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then also Sam Spade's willingness to turn over fully loaded guns constantly to the
Constantly.
people who just stuck him up.
yeah.
Like, hey,
he doesn't like guns.
Don't pull this gun
Doesn't
on me
like
again.
guns.
You pulled it on me again.
Here.
Well, he doesn't have a gun at home.
Yeah, take it back.
Like, I was sure when he gave the gun back to Cairo, right? He knocked Cairo out, and he's like, "Can I have my gun back?"
By the
he gave
way,
it back to him,
calling
he
the
pulled
guy
on him.
Cairo is a lazy name. Anyways, moving on.
Joel
Joel.
Cairo.
JC. Let's call him JC.
I for sure thought, because in a modern movie, he would have, emptied the mag or something, right? The gun would have been useless, and he'd been like, nice try. But it's like, nope, fully loaded gun.
Yeah,
He ended up searching the thing anyway. It was like, what?
yeah,
Yeah,
Which
what
kind
is
of got
going
me
on?
into Sam Spade's he's not overly clever.
Or he just
Right? He also let himself get drugged. There's kind of a nice
he's pretty
It wasn't all
cavalier.
perfect.
Yeah, just this is happening.
It's not an Agatha Christie Poirot situation.
right.
Yeah.
It gets messy.
Same with Cairo, though. He's checking back into the hotel after a night in the police station getting questioned. And he comes up behind him and he's like, oh, how's it go? And he's just like, I don't feel like talking to you. Or like, I'm not going
Yeah, he's
anywhere.
like,
Like,
okay.
he didn't react. Like, he wasn't jumpy. He was just like, oh,
Oh, no.
not
They're all
you
gentlemen
again.
about it.
Yeah, like, I didn't really
Yeah.
like talking to you in a room. I'm not going to do it again. And
So funny.
like,
I think that was another fun element, was the gentlemanly or the classy
Yes.
way these criminals kind of handled each other. They get rough when they have to,
yeah.
but in general, they're willing to just talk it out and
And
make a deal. I
Gutman-
thought that was charming.
Yeah, Gutman chuckling and I like it when people say that, or I
yeah.
appreciate you.
His man love for Sam Spade was a little
Yeah.
over the top.
He
You're a
liked-
character.
I had to-
You're a
I was
character. He
testing
kept
you.
saying. Yeah.
You passed the test, my good sir.
yeah,
You just.
my good.
And you're
sir.
like,
You just palmed a dog. What do you mean? You just stole money. What do you mean testing you? Freaking
also,
skeezy.
I mean, again, to give the film a hard time. What was that? One more,
one more trick.
Here
we go.
Mary,
Here we go.
or O'Shaughnessy. What was her first name? Bridget.
Bridget, yeah,
Yeah, you couldn't help yourself. You stole, $1,000 or something,
Hilarious.
and it was no, he palmed it. It was just one little moment of tension while they have to wait for this Falcon to show.
and then her shaking her head at him like, no, this is the one time I'm telling the truth in the whole film, and he believes her. right then and there.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
to like, oh, like that's pretty risky to believe her after all the rubbish she's thrown at you.
You know what it reminds me of is the original femme fatale is Samson and Delilah. Every time Delilah would sail,
I thought you were gonna say Gilmore Girls again.
Oh no, I'm going biblical.
This reminds me of the episode.
Yeah. No, see, I can pretend I actually have like legit things, like historical things, or like actual cultural things. Come on now.
No, that's an old story. You can tell this.
I can. Okay, yes, but that's like I always I'm like, why is Samson such an idiot? And that's how I felt about Sam Spade.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was, the question of love, that I guess
Question
we
mark?
were supposed
Yeah.
to,
That seemed like a lot.
Had they
I thought they were just playing each other. I was so confused about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what angle are they going on?
That kind of made me frown upon. Like, if she had, just gone stone-faced or something after kind of pleading to be like, yeah, I was never in love with you. This was just one last chance to try and, like, save myself.
And
then
I wanted
you'd be like, oh, you're the greatest.
Exactly.
But
And
it was
Sam
like,
to do the same
she really
thing.
loved him?
I wanted them both to be like, yeah, we were just playing each other. Like it sounded like two super flirty people. Like, we're just playing the game.
And
now.
it was just a too short and strange a relationship to be like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
No,
Oh
you
gosh,
don't.
it was bizarre.
You
I'm like,
offered yourself essentially in payment if the money wasn't enough. Then you kiss, and apparently you're in love from there on out.
so good. Okay, next question. Pat.
The book might
you
have
have
given
questions?
away.
Did you write questions?
Oh
for us,
please!
Seth?
I don't know what the end of my sentence is going to be.
Are you
There's no way I
Are
wrote
you a
down
podcast
questions.
host?
How hot is Mary Astor?
Oh, when Iva said she's a knockout, I had higher expectations.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I was worried about that. I'm actually
say-
looking. I'm going through her history of filmography. I'm like,
The
what's
movie
going on right
I
now?
know her best from is Meet Me in St. Louis.
is she?
And she's the mother. So her being in this just make me keep thinking of her being the mother of all of these, marriage aged women. And
No, first of all, don't get me wrong. I think she killed it at this part. Like, freaking loved her.
she was great.
she was wonderful.
But being the hot,
And not
femme
that she's
fatale,
not
please.
attractive.
She's not the hot
Right,
femme
like it-
fatale.
yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I was kind of confused
I
about.
think
I'm
that
like,
was-
the secretary had her
Right.
beat, y'all. Come on. Anyways, yeah, I was just very confused by the whole. I'm like, is this?
I mean, she looked like, a woman.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's fine.
that's fine.
But,
Yeah.
it wasn't like, to go in the Humphrey Bogart catalog, it wasn't Lauren Bacall walking through the door.
No.
Well, and
But she was great.
and
I hate to-
Humphrey
I hate to-
Bogart is no Brad Pitt. Like, let's be real here.
No.
Like
Also,
that's the
yeah.
other thing, which helps. Like, if he was Clark Gable, it'd be more awkward.
Trickier.
It'd be trickier. But it's Humphrey Bogart.
I think it was just
She would have
odd
been the
because of
secretary if it had been.
setup.
By the way,
Right.
yeah. Oh, anyways, that's yeah.
But
Okay.
now we're gonna get a lot of
Hey,
Mary Astor fans.
I know
giving us
Mary
a
Astor
hard
fans are
time
gonna.
about that.
Yeah.
And I think
Come
Mary
after
Astor
us.
is an
Ah,
attractive
fight
and
me.
wonderful actress.
Oh,
but,
she killed it. Oh man, Peter. By the way,
I better stop talking about.
yeah, I'm gonna jump to Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre apparently still was like a Hungarian actor before he came to America, and he left Germany when Adolf Hitler became in power. Like,
Yes.
so he's seen some things.
There's a long list of
Oh, my gosh.
actors that bailed, or at least went to Switzerland, or at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
went
yeah.
somewhere else.
Apparently,
for a little bit.
what he's known for
Good job, guys.
is the M. The first he was the murder dude. Mm-hmm. What was that movie called? M. Oh, but though it was like one of the first times where it was like a serial killer going after young women, and he played that character. Ew, M. It's just called.
He would do
it's
that
just called
great.
M.
It's just called M,
It's
and
called
I
M.
think it's on one of the lists of you
Oh
should
my
see
gosh!
this.
Yeah, no, it looks and it's because it's
Is it?
it's
Oh, it's a
German,
Fritz
right?
Lang.
Is it a talkie?
Yeah, it's a
it's
Fritz
not
Lang.
a talkie.
Oh, is it silent? Oh,
I think
no
it might be
wonder.
silent.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It came out in 1931.
Oh my gosh, 30, and it's German, of course. So yeah, that's gonna have to be on the list. A film de Niro. I assume that means like a dark film. Wow.
Yeah, but no,
Anyways,
he is.
I really enjoyed
He is great. I think kind of everybody in this felt like they could be in a Bond movie.
Ooh, good one. Ooh,
Yeah.
good one.
For sure. He should have been in a Bond movie.
Oh, yeah. But because they all were such great characters.
He probably would have
Yes,
been pretty
you're
All
like-
of them were such great characters.
Yeah.
They could
stood on their
all
own.
talk
Oh.
about their evil plan and have quippy give and take with a Bond,
And it
would've
doesn't
been
get
amazing.
in the way of the other character. That was
Not
the nice
the
thing about it.
lieutenants to me. Not the police officers.
No.
They should have
they
been
were
in
wrong. Or the
Perry.
DA.
They were Perry Mason
Yeah,
caliber.
yeah.
The DA was
Pretty weak
the DA
sauce.
was pretty bad.
They were funny. I'd seen him
did
in.
love.
I'd seen him in stuff though. I mean, I recognized.
Yeah. They have interesting kind of Dick Tracy faces, the
Yeah.
detectives for sure.
Yeah.
But the DA, that scene actually was great. Although I didn't like the acting of the DA when he's going off and he turns to the stenographer who's doing it by hand, which I thought was interesting. He's like, "Did you get all that?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I got it."
Right? I was like, no, you didn't.
And it's, I just thought, like, yeah, good for you. Like, you're good at your job.
He's
It's
like, I
impressive.
haven't
And
missed
just
a thing.
a funny aside
Yeah.
in this movie. I was like, what a good little joke. to
That's
have.
true. I forgot that part.
That was pretty clever. Okay, so this let's go back to film noir. Like, I was having trouble like even coming.
Dark film,
Yeah.
black film.
Right?
40s and 50s is
Yes.
what is considered.
Film noir, and
And
this
seeing as this is 41,
it really is
it
like
really was kicking it
the
off.
beginning of like the golden age of film noir.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes from like literature before that. It comes from that hard like the prohibition like cop who turns out to be the one who's dealing
Mm-hmm.
alcohol in the end. It's the anti-hero. So is this like the
Yes.
beginning of the anti-hero movement, I guess?
Cynical attitudes and motivations.
Ooh, good one. Read that Wikipedia page.
Yeah. I wrote it down.
Oh, way to go. You did
I was
write
like,
it down.
I
Way
want
to
a
go.
definition for film noir. I don't want like just
Yeah.
oh, this is so film noir. I
Right.
want to know what they think it is. Cynical attitudes and motivations. That's what I kind of was like, oh, that's very Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, it's perfect. It's cynical. I think
Well,
this-
yeah,
that's
it's-
so
Right. There's not happy endings. There's not like people are gray.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
It's not black and white.
Is Wes Anderson film noir?
Hmm.
Because they're cynical as hell,
Um,
but they're also quirky. So that's not
I
film
think
noir.
the other thing associated with film noir was the black and white
Black and white.
harsh shadow.
Oh, sure.
Because they were saying, what is it? Neo noir was what they considered after
Oh,
that.
right. And that
Yes.
that movie.
So you can still have like the hard-nosed
Velvet
detective
movie.
story.
Yeah.
You know, kiss, kiss, bang, bang. That's neo noir.
Yeah.
Who Framed Roger
Neo-noir.
Rabbit? Obviously.
Clearly.
Framed
Neo-noir.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Neo-noir.
Clearly.
You guys act like that's a joke. I think that's
No, it's
accurate.
not. It is literally a cartoon
Well, yeah.
caricature of film noir.
This
Yes.
is yeah,
It's
this is-
literally the cartoon.
it's Warner Brothers.
It's the same freaking studio.
Smack, smack, smack. Get out of here. What are you looking
Oh,
at?
that's so good. No, that's the crazy thing. Between Animaniacs and Roger Rabbit, it's no wonder we find this movie like
Yeah. Joel Cairo and Wilmer Cook should have their very own characters. They should be animated. I mean, they kind of have
Apparently.
animated Joel
oh yeah, no, and
Peter Lorre several times.
I
but-
literally want to go back and watch all the Animaniacs now because I didn't get any of the references when I was,
Mm-hmm.
in like
Oh, yeah, like
I mean,
from
Peter
Aladdin.
Lorre,
From Aladdin.
I have seen. I've
Right.
seen
Can't
so
bring
many
people back
cartoon-
from the
the
dead.
dead.
It's not a pretty sight. Don't make me
I
do
don't
it.
like doing it.
I have seen so many Peter Lorre cartoon interpretations
Which
that
I-
I was like, I don't know who this person is.
Exactly right. I had no clue. I had no
Yeah.
concept.
But yeah, like he hangs out with Daffy and
Yeah. And now I want to go back and see him as a murderer in M.
I know. Freaking Fritz Lang. That's the crazy thing about this. Cartoons are movie snobs. If you can get
for
all
sure.
the references from a Warner Brothers cartoons, you, my friend, are a movie snob, which is hilarious. Oh, I have a little side story about this. So I had a buddy who's from Japan, blonde-haired, blue eyes, lived in Japan his whole life.
Sounds like a lie.
Right? Sounds like a lie already,
Is he
right?
in a band?
No,
Is he your friend, really?
he was from a missionary family.
Are they
Let's
a
be honest.
popular band
Yeah.
right now?
I don't know. Is Limp Bizkit still popular?
Oh, he's not Japanese. Okay.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, no. And so I asked him, because then he went to college in the United States. I'm like, dude, the culture shock must have been crazy, because it's worse because you don't look Japanese. No offense, buddy. But he's like, you know what I did? I watched the last 5 seasons of The Simpsons and figured out what all the references were, because all American culture is
Good
cultural
call.
references. And I'm like, you son of a... You're not wrong.
No.
And it was, and I'd say even
But
more...
I'd also throw in Family Guy and
But see, this is
South Park.
It's a little older, so it was like Family Guy and South Park were finally, Now it's too hard because there's just too many references. It's like, oh, are you a TikTok? Or
oh,
are
now
you
if I
it's the
watch
worst.
it, I kind of feel stupid. I'm like, oh no, I don't know what they're saying.
I don't know anything. Yeah, it's
Current event.
It's
Oh.
hard, it's hard work.
Oh,
I can't watch
no.
SNL because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh. But that's the crazy part, though. But for us growing up, like in the 90s, they were referencing all these 40s and 50s movies. That was just nutty to me. Do you guys remember the movie? The cartoon Eek the Cat. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, such a weird cartoon. I remember they had a whole episode that was based on the Clockwork Orange.
Oh wow.
And here we are. It's like,
Well, definitely. I mean, there'd be some kind of like taping somebody's eyeballs open.
Oh man.
it was so like
They
when
might
I
have skipped the beginning.
when I realized what was going down, I'm like, how they get away with that?
Yeah.
It's so
Oh
good.
my goodness.
Oh, it's so brilliant. And I think that was
The
Warner
name of
Brothers
that
as well.
episode is a Sharkwork Orange.
They weren't even subtle.
Yeah. This is exactly what you think it is.
That's
Well,
so
if you
This
put
is
yourself
super inappropriate. Here we go.
as a writer in like the 90s, and you got to come up with something. You're like, well, kids aren't going to know what this is.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'll just make an episode based off that.
Yeah. Let's not get started on a list of things we watched in the 80s and 90s that were extremely inappropriate for us.
Well, that's the crazy
But
part.
luckily over our heads till we were old enough to realize
Oh,
it.
totally. Oh, totally. And everything's so much more sanitized now. Like it's the opposite of when we were kids. When we were kids, you'd go to the movies to see the super like controversial, sexual, cussing, whatever it is. Now you just go to Netflix or Prime or frickin' HBO or whatever the new show is, and it's the most controversial.
Mm-hmm.
But all the movies now have to appeal to so many broad audiences.
Yeah.
They're like TV shows of the 80s and 90s.
And have a very long disclaimer at the beginning of them, especially all the ones on Disney. Willow,
Oh my gosh.
Aladdin, and
Yeah, they're
several things.
getting rid
Like,
of
just so you know,
Splash
we
Mountain, by
shouldn't
the
be-
way.
Yeah.
But they're keeping the physical parts of it. They're just changing the characters.
I guess they're going to be
Not Song
Princess
of
and the
the
Frog. Or
Yeah,
something.
Princess and the Frog, exactly right. I mean, honestly, it's like even when Splash Mountain came out, none of us seen Song of the South. None of us. Do you know anyone who saw it? You saw it?
Yeah, I've probably seen it.
Well, yeah, you guys.
Mariah was really into that stuff. She really thought that.
Yeah, the darker side of the Wonderful World of Disney.
darker side.
It was still on
Was
Wonderful
that-
World of Disney.
Was it really?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's mighty white of you. Anyways.
Hey, if it was on Sunday evening, I was
Oh, we didn't have
watching
cable.
it.
You guys had a
Yeah.
freaking satellite dish bigger than our house, so that was different. Y'all had different access.
There's
to
a
it.
lot of strange
They might have edited out some versions of it.
Yeah.
Sure. But I had no idea what it was.
We definitely
knew
it existed.
But I had no idea what it was. Like I literally had like look up.
It might have just been like the music and
Yeah. Well, because Zippity Doo Dah's dope. Like Zippity Doo Dah, that song's awesome. But the rest of it's like I have no idea what's going on. Why are they in the South? I didn't even know that was the South. I just thought it was some cartoon world.
yeah.
So yeah, it really is funny how it was such a bad era of Disney during that time too. So it's just like a very forgettable time. But I was joking. I'm like, all the rides at Disney I liked are kind of crappy movies. Or crappy. Like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride was one of my favorites, and like then I mean Dumbo's
But
good,
Wind in the Willows
terrible.
is a great story.
It is, but it's not like.
But Mr. Toad is just like
It's not like Lion King-esque or
No.
Pinocchio-esque. You know what I mean? It's definitely like B or C level Disney. And for that,
it's in the Xerox era, which had its
okay. But this is my thing. I'm like,
moments.
all these great movies don't have good rides. That was always the weirdest thing to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's no 101 Dalmatians ride.
Really? That's the movie you went with? Of all the great Disney movies, you went with 101 Dalmatians.
well, and as you'll see when you go, Seth.
Oh yeah.
The Little Mermaid one is pretty dumb.
Yeah. What the heck? That literally started the
ride,
revolution.
The ride is meh.
Yeah.
Those movies have musicals. You can go watch them.
Yeah, and it's true. The musical
and they're coming out with live action. So.
Oh, they're awful.
Or they're
all terrible.
Just watch a billion versions of it.
They're all terrible. It's. I almost preferred the like Cinderella 2 straight to VHS to the live action. Like it's just as bad.
Finn asked to watch Return of Jafar tonight, and I said no.
Yeah,
Is that the one without Robin Williams? Because then he came back for the third one, right?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I couldn't get that far.
And there's a huge disclaimer at the beginning of that movie.
Oh yeah,
Because
it's
when
a
he was
long.
here,
It's
he wanted
lengthy.
to watch it.
Yeah.
And it said, a lot of the attitudes and depictions of characters are
We're really
culturally
sorry.
inappropriate.
Yeah. I think.
Oh my gosh.
I think Jim Alexander even plays Iago or something in the second.
Oh, really?
one. Yeah, it's Jason Alexander, not Jim.
There-
Sorry.
Oh, Jason Alexander?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even
George?
George
is
Costanza?
in it, I believe.
That's funny.
There's some weird people that took
Hey,
over
you
that
gotta get
second
paid,
one.
man. You gotta get paid. No judgment
The
here.
songs are awful.
Yeah, no, you gotta get paid.
So
my
how
gosh.
does this all relate to
I'm not sure. We went on a tangent.
Well,
film noir
it
Cartoon.
Maltese Falcon?
here's the thing that I love about this. It's a freaking B movie that changed cinema. And what I love about this is it's just John Huston trying to do something he wants to do.
And he did so well without
Yeah.
the confidence of anybody.
Right. Well, he had the
Like, you're a great writer, but this
Right.
movie's not going to be any good that you're directing.
They're like, we're going to throw you a freaking bone. You can do what you want, but you only
Yeah.
get this budget. So, but he got a freaking great cinematographer. The crazy part is, like, he got this, like, ace in the hole.
Yeah.
And he got Humphrey Bogart, which Humphrey wasn't Humphrey at that point, right? He was still pretty.
He was newish.
What was he
I
done
think
before
he'd
that?
been all right. Because it's not like he was a young buck. I think he was like
No, he
40 or
definitely
something
wasn't.
when he did
He's
this.
like 35, I think, in this.
He did High Sierra before that. I guess that was kind of big. But none of the other movies I know.
He hadn't been big for too long.
No. Oh, dude, he started in Broadway.
You know what I found
really-
interesting is that Houston did not choose
Okay.
for his first movie directing as one he wrote. He picked something that someone else wrote.
Well, that's a good point since he's written so much.
Because he was so successful writing other things.
I
that
wonder-
He wasn't like, this I really want to direct. He just was like, I want to direct.
Yeah. Which that's really smart.
And he
to
picked
be
one that
honest.
had already failed twice.
Well, he did. I mean, he did the screenplay.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but that's like he didn't pull it from scratch or anything.
No.
So
Well, sure. It's not an original.
Okay,
screenplay.
I
It's
am
an
looking at-
adapted screenplay.
have you guys seen the picture on Wikipedia? Pull up the picture of Humphrey Bogart on Wikipedia. I'm changing my mind of how good he looks because that in 1940 Humphrey Bogart looks real good.
I mean, he doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. And he's
Dude.
wearing his fedora.
He was in
I'm into it.
the 1980 and then even this one of him in 1918 as a sailor. Like he was. That sounded weird.
An attractive seaman. Very attractive.
I think it's funny that the character who doesn't like guns on the poster is holding 2 guns.
2 guns, not one.
I think
but
that's pretty
2.
funny. It's like,
Yeah, I wonder
this is going to be action packed.
Yeah,
Yep.
I wonder if he was like, does this make sense? Has he read it yet?
I don't think he cares.
Yeah,
in my imagination, Humphrey Bogart is so drunk on every set. That's just how it goes. But yet, somehow still cool.
There are a couple things. Well, one, it's really interesting to me watching movies from a modern lens because I was thinking the end would be like, oh, it's not real. The Falcon's not real, but somehow Sam Spade knows it is real and he ends up with the real
That's
one.
what I thought too. I thought they're going to be like...
It's like, nope.
Yeah.
It's just a hunk of iron.
Same thing
and you're
with
like,
this.
Oh.
Yeah. Same thing with the significance of the wrappings and like the
Yeah.
transport of it all. Like I thought maybe the secretary brought the fake and he had stashed
there was
away
some kind of
the real
triple
one.
Cross.
Yeah. Because he was
And
like,
it's like,
I
no.
want you to bring me that package. And
Yep. But I think it's
Which
because
I guess is the film noir of it all, right? Like, nah, that's not real a happy ending.
Yeah.
Like everyone kind of loses.
just wasn't real.
Yep.
Yeah. But that was I was for sure thinking, he knows something they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And but
I
no.
did hope that. And that could have been just, us living now and expecting those kinds of
Yeah, for
twists.
sure. And I think even though, the ending is pretty harsh by most standards, other than our hero doesn't go to jail, right? Like that's the only thing that happened positively. I guess bad guys got busted, but he, his partner's dead.
It was fake.
Girl he
Half
likes,
the people
he has
got
to turn
murdered.
in.
Half the people are in
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, how much money he actually made in the end because he turned over money to like the police. Like, so it's like, I don't know what he got out of all this, but anyway.
Just a good
That was-
chuckle at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I did love his super serious face to laughing and clapping. That was also like pretty great
That's funny.
throughout the movie. But the other little tidbit I read, speaking of Pranky, and what seems insane to me on your first movie, was because, the censors are like, or actually it wasn't the censors. I think it was the, president of Warner Brothers. Like,
Studio,
don't have your characters smoke because it will convince the audience that they should go have a smoke break and they'll leave the theater.
Oh, that's
And so
hilarious.
And
That's-
everyone
so
smoked
everybody
all the
smoked,
time. I was thinking
Yes,
that
to
too.
the
I was like,
point-
this is excessive.
Yes, no, they did it. They
Oh,
did
we're
it
watching
to
Mad
spite
Men?
him.
Yeah.
And then by the end, he was like, no more smoking. And so they apparently were going to do the end scene when they're waiting for the Falcon to show up, not smoking. And John Huston was like, they have to smoke. This is crazy. Of course they'll be smoking while they're waiting. And it will
This
help
is
with
the most
mood.
stressful
And so-
situation, and you want them to not
so-
smoke.
Right. And so they'd overdone it throughout the entire rest of the movie to the
good.
point where you had to go, no, please let me put it back in at the end because I really need it here. But it's like on your first movie, the whole
That's
cast
so
and everyone's
funny.
like, ha
F all y'all.
we're going to stick it to them, just smoke obscenely in
That's
every
so
shot.
funny. It did feel a little Mad Men-esque. I'm like, are we just...
Well, and the amount of rolling cigarettes and the little pouch, it was like, what is there?
I
like,
was so confused
it
that
is
first
in
scene.
my face.
I thought they were
The
smoking...
secretary just rolling them for him.
I
Like,
know,
here's
like,
your
good
pouch.
night.
Yeah.
Here's your pouch. I'm like,
Making
dang.
him lick it at least.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice.
Oh,
But yeah,
right.
that
the
was
cigarette.
like what a weird thing. Again, your first directorial opportunity, and you're gonna mess with the studio head because he said try not to have people smoke film.
Yeah, but remember,
insane to me.
he's still... It's not like he's new to the system, though. Like, they value him as a writer, so they can't just, like, write him
For sure,
off.
but that
Right.
doesn't mean they're gonna give him another shot to direct.
No.
Of course, he came in on time and under budget on this.
Right,
because
there we go.
storyboarding and everything. But it's still hilarious to me that you'd go, even just if you didn't think it was right for the movie
Pat,
or
some
the
people...
characters scene to scene, you'd be like,
Hey,
yeah, go ahead, smoke.
Some people are badasses, Pat, and some people aren't, all right? I mean, you just gotta...
He's a
Gotta know
role
what side
breaker.
you're
I mean,
on, dude.
he'll drink and drive and apparently kill people and
He'll kill an actress. He don't care.
have his actors
Oh my gosh.
smoke on the movie.
Oh,
You
And
know, I just read this. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
yeah.
But that Sydney Greenstreet was 61 and weighed between 280 and 350 pounds.
Like a man.
For his first film.
That's
61 years old.
like a boss.
Heart attack waiting to happen.
Man, that's
Yeah,
dreams right there. That's like life goals.
They needed to make custom chairs for him to sit in. He was so big.
Yeah.
You know, the good news is in
Because the chairs they
2023.
had weren't wide enough and weren't strong enough to support his brain, which is pretty crazy.
Also, you guys should look at the list of actresses that were considered for the role. And
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, really?
she was not.
Top.
If you want to see a list of knockouts, they're here.
Where is it?
It's on
On the
Wikipedia.
wiki?
Casting.
Oh yeah, they have that. Freaking love Wikipedia, man.
Including Lauren Bacall, pretty sure, right?
Oh my gosh.
No.
Was
She wouldn't have been old enough.
Mariah.
was Ingrid on there?
Mariah.
Ingrid Bergman's
Don't
on the
you
list.
dare. Tell
Oh
me
my
I'm wrong.
gosh, Ingrid Bergman would have been
Geraldine
great.
Fitzgerald, Paulette Goddard, Janet
Well-
Gaynor, Olivia de Havilland.
Wow,
She would have been
she'd been
good.
hot.
Loretta Young. They were all considered.
So what's her name? I forget Astor's name.
Sorry, Mary.
Sorry, Mary.
Now they're really going to come after me
I know,
talking
I
about the
forgot
list
Mary
of
Astor.
knockouts that they should.
Well,
pick.
but the
Well, at least it's you and not us.
Well, Mary Astor killed it in the part though. So
She did.
she must
She was
have
wonderful.
been amazing since the other ones were arguably more attractive.
And I think she was pretty popular, and I think she
In the
made
silent
the
era, yep.
transition.
Yep,
She
yep.
was one
She
of
was
the
pretty
few that
good.
did it. So
And she has a good
was-
voice. She has a great voice.
So she was big
Yes.
box office at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sings.
Well,
you
that's
know,
a-
and
Wow,
That's a
this
question
is a
too.
Phoebe in
list.
St. Louis.
Do
Oh yeah, this is a good list.
you like Humphrey Bogart's voice is iconic, right?
Yeah.
But is it like, would you have thought people would be like, this guy's ready for Takis? Or would you think, oh, it's kind of an odd voice? I'm interested in that dynamic because some people can
I think it had
make the
so much.
transition, of course.
I think it had so much character. I think the way he spoke. I think
I
he would.
didn't know-
Yeah, it
he
wasn't
just,
like really high pitched or something.
So
but
wait. I'm
it's not a deep baritone smooth. There's hoarse.
Yeah.
It's not like a pretty voice.
right.
But it's an iconic voice. Again, I think that now. I'm curious
Now I
for
just want to
people who maybe
listen to
couldn't
it.
transition.
Now I want to listen to it and not look at him.
So Humphrey, he did. I didn't even know he did silent films, which is embarrassing. But
Well, I don't know this,
oh,
but I'm
okay.
just curious. In the time, it's only
He did.
when that movie came out.
Yeah,
41.
41. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're only 12 years, 13 years into Takis,
Yeah, but 13 years.
and he
man.
wasn't a young man.
Oh no, he was way older. He was born in 1899.
Oh, geez.
He was 42.
Wow.
Yeah, he wasn't young when this movie came
But
out.
okay, so he was still in Broadway though in the 30s. He might have started in talkies, yo. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with singing here. What made who's that amazing singer? Jacob Collier. He's like a perfect pitch and he can do crazy stuff. Anyways, he was saying what makes singers interesting is their imperfections, not it's the part of their voice which is the weakest, which makes a singer interesting. And I would argue that could probably be the same thing about a person's voice. Because if someone sings perfectly, there's no personality. But when someone's singing a note that's out of their range, that's when you start to get that some, like the growl or the roll or the, because they got to work at it. And it's not just a perfect tone. And arguably, Bogart's probably got that same thing going on. Like, you don't want somebody who just sounds like he's reading the news. So imperfection.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So I assume even on the early talkies. The early talkies was crazy though, because it's like that weird. The tone is such a high pitch compared to now.
Yeah.
So Humphrey Bogart would have been like a nice breath of fresh air compared to the jazz singer.
I think my question was really like, did people understand that? Which of course they should have. They're all normal humans by then. But it was a weird time in entertainment still, right? Like everyone's figuring it out as they go. Like to me, that's actually, again, like what's so modern about the movie is the character choices and embracing kind of the weirdness and the quirkiness of everybody.
Yeah, that's nice.
That I could see people not doing in film when you want to make it, Hollywood in quotes. So
isn't that weird? I feel that the embracing the weirdness seems to be what makes people stand out. It changes cinema. It changes art form. Period. From like, oh, you're going with the awkward feeling that people in real life try to avoid, and you're zooming in.
Yeah.
All right, how's this movie play in 2023, y'all? How do we say?
It was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, again, I think there's some filmmaking age on it where you just go, that was a weird cut, or these crossfades are really fast or weird. But I think as far as like story and certainly scene to scene,
oh yeah,
there's
so
stuff
good.
that would hold up so well
good
in any modern movie, and you'd be like, this is amazing.
And the
I enjoyed
cast
it.
was great.
It's not going to be in my top 10. I think that's one of those odd things where it's like, this is like a 99% Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like, yeah.
Well, the problem is Casablanca came out the next year, and it's literally a better film noir, even though it's not even. I don't even know if it's technically a film noir, but it's the same freaking.
Well, it still does. It's still black and white and doesn't end up happy.
It's exactly right.
I think that's the definition.
The femme fatale though is a little less conniving. So
right.
What's the more iconic line?
Oh, here's looking at you, kid.
What dreams are made of, or here's looking at you.
Nothing.
Kid.
No, Casablanca.
I loved What Dreams Are Made Of. I mean, I love Casablanca,
it's fine,
but I think the quote wise.
Oh, please.
I like Maltese Falcon.
Play it again, Sam. Please.
No.
It doesn't even compare.
Beautiful friendship. No. What dreams are made of.
No, disagree.
The issue with this, it's What Dreams Are Made Of, is right after the detective goes, huh?
Exactly right. Exactly
I have no idea
right.
what's happening.
No, it doesn't compare.
Takes away from that moment.
Like literally,
he just said nothing.
The here's looking at you,
show
kid.
You how much more noir I am than you.
That's fine. Oh no, that I literally think though the only thing this suffers from is having Casablanca the next year, because Casablanca.
Interesting. That's the only thing. Otherwise, you're like.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. No, this is the standard for film
There's
noir.
No modern problems when viewing this movie.
Whoa. Okay, you shut your mouth now. If there's no problems,
get a hold of yourself.
Well, honestly, that would be the point of it, though. Like, right?
How else do you want me to pay you, Mr. Slade?
Yeah, above board. Seems legit.
Boy, she's a knockout. You want to see this one?
No, you'll want to see her.
It reminded me the amount of like arbitrary, ambiguous exchange of money in these things is crazy.
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
How about this much money? And they just kind of look at her, and it's like, well, maybe this much more money. And then they're like, this is a lot of money.
So good.
And it's like, what?
$200, hell yeah.
Don't they just have a cost?
Yeah. Also,
don't things just cost things?
Nope.
Do we just have a couple $100 bills or $1,000 bills lying around? No.
Yeah, that'd be like, what's the inflation on that
apparently, they couldn't use real money in these movies, and so those are like, real American money.
It was clearly
It was
not
like,
real money.
It's pesos, I think.
Oh,
yes. Yeah,
pesos.
so $1,000.
I looked it up as well, Pat.
Yeah,
what
and that's
was
like
that?
because that doesn't exist. Anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
100%.
Speaking of money, I've got one more fun fact.
Ooh, I can't wait.
From the research team, just told me this. In 2013,
Okay.
one of the Maltese Falcons went for $4 million.
Damn.
So in the end, it really was worth a lot of money.
Well, yeah.
Which one?
I think a heavy one.
Was it the first one?
I think that there were
Fourth one?
There were
Wait,
lead ones.
how many were there?
Ceramic ones.
Oh.
There were 2 lead ones. One apparently fell on Humphrey Bogart's foot.
Ooh, that's got to be the
I
big
want
money.
that one.
That's
I think-
the moneymaker.
I think that the dented one. I think that's the one Leonardo DiCaprio has.
Yeah, probably.
It's got a dent in it. And then there's another one. And then there were a couple like ceramic lightweight ones. But the heavy ones,
Those are the big money
I think
ones.
one Leo DiCaprio has, and another somebody paid $4 million for
Wow.
That's amazing,
in 2013. So who knows what it's worth 10 years later?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going into
Interesting.
a recession, so might lose a couple bucks here, but other than that,
Yeah.
Hold on
I'm
to
pretty
it.
impressed with our research team.
Hold on to it,
I
guy.
am.
They're quick.
Oh, side note, Humphrey Bogart died when he was 57. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh!
Smoked a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of cigarettes
And he
And drank a lot of booze.
and drank a lot of booze.
and apparently he's married 20 times. Good night. There was a lot of marriages back then.
But to Lauren Bacall for a while, right?
The one that counted. Yeah.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's a knockout.
She.
You're going to want to talk to this one. Wah, wah, wah.
But she didn't marry Humphrey till he was old.
He was
Yeah.
old, yeah.
Yeah, she was like 25 years younger. She lived till 2014. Wow.
She hung on. So did Olivia de Havilland.
Wow.
What was she, 102?
But she only got married twice. But she got divorced in 69. So she was single from 69 to 2014. Whoa. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I was very impressed with how easy it was to watch. Like this was a
Yeah,
nice
it was very watchable.
this was a very nice break of like thinking, oh, okay, it's another old movie. It's pre-World War II. Could be, and honestly, I enjoyed it more than the Treasure of Sierra Madre.
Madre.
Sierra Madre.
Probably just because it's so awful. People, he's just becoming so awful in that movie. But I was like, oh no, this one's just. I mean, it's clever. It's almost too clever sometimes. I'm like, okay, it's like you're kind of enjoying yourself being so clever all the time, which probably wouldn't
like
play as
Gilmore,
well.
like Gilmore Girls.
Like Gilmore Girls. Honestly, that's the big
Very
big hang up.
Very gratuitous.
It's too much. It's too much of a good thing.
Too much of
Yeah.
a good thing. Exactly right. Yeah, but no, I would definitely suggest this as like standard watching for everything that you've ever known about
Right.
film noir.
And must see John Huston. Like
yeah, must
always
see.
start with that one.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah,
And he
I
has
mean, I think
such-
if you
And
care,
Bogart.
Yeah.
if you care at all about film and what things you know today, to me, it slots right in with Seven Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It-
totally.
It is the genesis of so many things you know and love.
Yeah.
And
It would be on my top 20 list for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good one.
I think
don't-
it would. 20,
ah,
not 10.
It's hard.
But 20.
Top 50, no
I don't know
problem.
that it would.
Top 50, easy.
We should start making a list
Oh,
and
we
move
should
them
start
up
making.
and
Well,
down as we
well,
go.
as we become movie snobs, y'all, we can be more educated to make a good top 10 list because I don't
That
know.
gives me hives thinking about making a top 50
Yeah,
list.
I'm
right?
going to make a list and at the end bump each time. Like this one got bumped to this and this one got bumped
that's
to this because I feel like I'll make
I like
a more
that idea.
Okay.
accurate assessment.
Okay, y'all. So
I'm going to make a list based on
next
what we've already
week-
seen.
next week we are not watching a movie.
Oh.
We are only talking about our lists, our top 20 list. I'm not joking. I'm not
Oh,
joking
no.
because
But don't we have to watch
gosh.
some to get a...
no,
good
we have to do
list?
only the list of what we've seen.
Oh,
You've
no.
watched movies already, though, Mariah.
I've seen some.
You've seen some things, right? You've seen some things.
I mean, most
I think Mariah's
recently I
only
watched...
the movies
I've watched...
she's seen on this podcast.
I
Yeah.
watched Willow most recently. I had to introduce my 6-year-old to it.
are you watching the show too?
Yeah, I started it.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Nice.
I hear not great.
I'm only 2 episodes. in.
Oh, okay.
So I
Okay.
don't know.
All right.
I heard Andor is good too. I haven't. Speaking of movies,
Yeah, I hear Andor. It's good
I
too. haven't watched that one.
got a couple episodes in. I got
I
bored.
haven't watched one Star Wars thing outside of the franchise movies.
Wow, good for you.
I haven't even watched. Oh,
How
I
was-
watched Solo,
Solo's okay.
but I didn't watch Rogue One.
Rogue One was the best.
That's what I
Solo.
hear. I
yeah,
haven't
that's the
seen
best
it.
one. Which I hear.
Well, you gotta watch Rogue One if you're gonna watch Andor.
Yeah, you can't watch Andor before Rogue One. Anyways, it's
Is
crazy
this a
though.
podcast?
I don't even
How
know
are we
what
talking about.
I don't
this?
even know what
Sorry.
Baby Yoda's doing in
Ah,
this
baby,
world.
Grungor, what the hell his name is, pisses me off.
Mandalorian's great.
The Mandalorian is great.
Mandalorian's
The name is
okay.
stupid though.
Grogu.
By the way, Lauren Bacall.
Grandor.
Lauren.
Oh, hey,
Oh my gosh. where
I
are we
almost
going?
forgot this very important.
Oh, I can't wait.
This does pertain to the movie.
What? Oh,
John Huston
Yeah.
played the voice in Gandalf in the 1977 The Hobbit.
Yes.
The creepiest movie of all time. He was in that and The Return of the King in 1980. He was the voice
Dude,
of Gandalf.
he has a great voice. First of all,
He
and
also was in Chinatown,
Well,
another
yeah.
Yes.
see,
neo-noir.
that's
Yes.
the one I know him from. Like, I didn't realize because when I saw like all these John Huston stuff, I'm like, gosh, he looks familiar. Because I'd just seen Chinatown, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Well, now I learned today that he's been scaring the crap out of me since I first saw The Hobbit.
For good reason. He's a creeper.
Ugh, that movie.
Oh my
I gotta
gosh.
rewatch that.
Dude, that he was like not almost the Aviator, the real Aviator, not Leonardo DiCaprio, although
Hughes,
arguably
Howard
Hughes. He was a Howard Hughes type person. Like he couldn't be happy in a relationship. He just slept around, and if he was married, he was cheating on him, and he was drinking. Like they joked like on the set of African Queen, only him and Bogart didn't get like sick beyond like reason. He said that like, well, we were 50% alcohol at that point, so it didn't matter. And I'm pretty sure Houston was the one sleeping with the main actress, not freaking Bogart. So like,
Yeah.
it's a crazy thing. Like Houston was literally like toe to toe with the actors. Like he was the A-lister actor. It's just a weird, he was a Howard Hughes in a very
Weird, wild stuff, man.
weird,
Speaking
crazy
of
stuff.
Directors, just in the last couple weeks, I listened to the James Cameron, and then today or yesterday, I listened to Steven Spielberg on Smartless. And he told a really good Harrison Ford story about
Carrie Fisher? Or
when the
what?
guy comes at him with the knives, the swords, and
Oh,
then
the
he just shoots him.
The diarrhea
instead.
story.
Yeah.
The diarrhea story. He's like,
that's a
I'm
good
so
one.
sick. You have 1 hour.
Yeah, you
to
have 1
get
hour.
this.
That's so good. No, that's the best. And they make fun of that in
What
the
if
new
I just
teaser.
shot him?
Yeah.
Because in the new one, he's like whipping around and they all have guns. That's like a reverse making fun of that scene.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a fifth
and he-
one. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, the
That
fourth one
poor
sucked
guy-
ass.
It's
so.
terrible.
That poor guy practiced for weeks
Oh.
for that
I
part.
know, I know.
And then there was no fight scene. But it was better for the
Wah, wah.
It was funny,
Barbie.
though. I know. Poor guy. He looked dope, though. He looked dope when he got shot.
He did, I mean, he got a little intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
And now all of us movie snobs, because we're becoming movie snobs, guys. Just so you know.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, this is
Becoming?
how you become a movie snob.
We're like a solid 17%.
Yeah, we're getting up there. I mean,
Fill in the tank. Fill in
I'm
the
not
tank.
gonna lie. I'm still sad I didn't mention this, but now that I know what the reference for the Bare Naked Lady song, like Kurosawa, I make mad films. Just kidding, I don't make films. But if I did, they have a samurai. The fact that I know that, I think puts me up to at least 27% of being a movie snob, because that
That's
is
very
a dope
confident of you.
line. Like
A
Kurosawa
reference.
is it gives you so much cred.
Yeah,
Seven
a reference
Samurai.
translator is improving.
Yes, for real. That's literally all movie snob is. It's like you get references more than
Well,
you
and
should.
really, like, the fact that I now know, more, like, I should know more about Peter Lorre, but I don't. And
Yeah.
so, but I have seen many versions of him in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
His big eyes.
Oh, the
and-
Peter Lorre in
and
He's such a
Aladdin.
character.
Oh, it makes
Yeah.
so much sense now.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyways.
Is M on the list on the board?
No, it's not. No, it is. We talked about M a couple times.
Okay.
But we went to English speaking films because M's a German
we were a
speaking
little
film.
exhausted.
Yeah, we'll probably go back to
Pat, do you have a recommendation?
Oh, Pat, what's the next on your list? We
We're
literally
not
have
the
a
boss.
list.
We're not the boss of you.
Well, first of all, we are. But second of all,
But
get
if you
used
have
to
a
it.
suggestion,
Pat,
we might take it.
You've been the boss too long. Get used to this, baby.
Well, it's gotta be old movies, right?
I know it's just
Any
stuff we haven't seen.
amazing movies.
The problem is we've seen so many modern stuff that we just haven't gone there. So like, we did Kubrick, the Kubrick movie that none of us saw.
Yeah.
Seth hasn't seen The Shining.
I haven't seen The Shining, which is embarrassing.
Oh, you gotta see The Shining.
I know.
Maybe we do our
M right
we
there. I see
try
it.
and
It's
do our
starred.
top 20.
For
And
next time.
if
Yeah,
there's any like two of us haven't seen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We
good.
force it.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah. If
That
there's
will,
that's
that
a
will
great
get
one.
us there.
Yeah.
So the homework, there's homework.
The homework is we have to have a top 20 list.
Okay.
And it has to be
ugh,
and so okay, what's
pains
this?
me.
We got I know. We got to have standards though. We got to have like a so it has to be influential. Right? It can't
Do I need to write this down?
it can't just
Can
be
it
like
influence me?
well, it can't just be
Yeah.
like I like it because then it'd be like Billy Madison or something.
Done with it.
Wayne's World 2 is dope as hell. But shouldn't be on my top 20 list. I mean,
Okay, yeah, I know.
You see what I'm saying?
Somewhat
You see what I'm saying here?
prestigious or something.
yeah. So it has to be some sort of like moment. Let's do that. We'll make it a little bigger. It has to be a moment in film history.
When Hosehead walks into the crowd
Hosehead.
and he has the spray
So
paint down
good.
his back
Hey,
and everyone screams,
that is a
"Skunk."
great moment. That is a great moment. You never sleep on Strange Brew. Don't sleep on Strange Brew.
Got Max von Sydow. Come on, guys.
I know he got freaking he played Jesus. You don't mess with him. Ingrid Bergman. He was directed by Ingrid Bergman. So yeah, it has to be like an influential movie. You have to like it. It can't just be like you're like trying to be cool, trying to be a film snob.
No.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to like look at the
Well,
list.
it's-
I'm going to look at what I've seen. I'm going to rate like, oh, can I include Mannequin on the list? No, I can't.
Ooh.
Dang it.
Wait, who
I mean,
who was the score? Who did the
far as-
score?
I don't know. But there's a guy named Hollywood in the movie.
Hollywood. Up to no good. Yeah. Okay. So we got to do our top 20, what we consider the best movies of all time
That we've seen.
that we've seen. You can't.
yeah, we've seen.
You have.
Yeah.
You have to have seen
you
it.
have to have seen it.
It has to be something you enjoyed.
So,
So,
yeah, I mean, if 20 is not that hard.
No, and because then you get rid of like.
It's pretty hard.
It's
Well-
okay to admit that you haven't seen some stuff too. It's
Well-
like I'm sure this could be on my list.
For example,
'cause I'm
the
happy to bump stuff as
Yeah,
we go.
The Shining won't be on my list, y'all, because I haven't seen it unless I watch it between now and there. So that's just that.
I don't know if it's my top 20.
Well, yeah, it's hard because is it even your top 3 Stanley Kubrick? You know what I'm saying? Like,
It would be in my top 3 Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, it would.
yeah,
For sure.
over Barry Lyndon.
Screw Barry Lyndon. Boo.
Yeah, that one might not be on my top 20. Okay, so next week, guys.
Looking at my movie wall.
Oh my gosh! So
Yeah,
so
get
I
to
think
watching.
we have to say this movie, The Maltese Falcon, is a must for a movie snob. You
Yep.
cannot not be a movie
yeah, for
snob
sure.
without watching this. Like, so this is to be a movie snob. Definitely watch. In 2023, is it
And-
watchable?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I say it's still watchable. So that's 2 out of 3.
And yeah, exactly. It's you should watch it because of what it means
Yeah.
historically for film.
For
but also
film,
like it's
to be a snob.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
pretty
fun
good.
story.
Now-
You couldn't call it at the beginning. You wouldn't know.
No.
You should
That's
see
great. It actually is a pretty decent surprise,
Yeah.
despite the fact that it's been like made fun of and mimicked so many times. Is it gonna be like a Friday night like this or John Wick 3? Probably not. You probably just go John Wick 3, but or John Wick 4. Shoot,
Depends
there's
on
a
your
4th one
audience.
coming out. Yeah, but it still is very entertaining, and for a black and white film, shoot, we should. Oh, side
Enjoyed
note,
it.
We should have our top black and white films of all time. Our top.
That's not happening
silent.
this time.
No, we are not doing that. Top
We need to
silent
get a
movies
little
of all
further
time.
down.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're not snobby enough yet.
No.
But that is definitely something to do. So next week, we are going to give you our top 20 best movies of all time according to Mariah, Pat, and Seth.
Also,
The definitive.
The definitive list that will be changed literally the next
Until we
week.
change it.
yeah.
When we watch another movie, like, oh, that was really good. Who knew?
I know.
Police Academy 4, so good.
We're also forgetting to equate the movie to a beverage.
I've actually thought about this a lot.
Oh.
So I've actually thought about this. The beverage for this one, for me, had to be some sort of whiskey, but it had to be American, which gets rid of a whole lot of a thing. And so like Johnny Walker's on the list. A lot of people say he was drinking Johnny Walker Black or Johnny Walker Red. The fat man Gutman was drinking Johnny Walker Red.
You're making it a whiskey.
I gotta make it a whiskey. It's freaking
Pat,
film noir.
How about you, Pat?
I wasn't thinking about this.
You can just pick a quality beer too.
Yeah, we started actually. I ruined it. It used to be what beer is this movie? That was originally what it was, and so I can also come up with a beer if you need me to. But first, go ahead, Pat.
But it does have to have alcohol in it.
Yeah,
you can't
no.
just say this is
You're
a
like, this is
solid
a soda-
chocolate milk.
This is a Pepsi Cola.
He'd say Diet Pepsi Cola.
Yeah,
if
he would.
had
That's
to.
gross, Pat. It's messed
That's
up.
right.
That's just
Well,
gross.
you know, you got to take care of your teeth.
Yeah,
Not your
which is
whatever the
weird.
rest of your body is.
Yeah,
Your
like
forget
who
your
cares about the
liver.
cancer? Jeez.
Yeah, don't worry. But your teeth got to be good.
Oh my gosh, that's the most
gosh,
American thing
this-
I've ever heard.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go. I gave this answer last time, but I think to me, the equivalent of something whiskey, Bernie is something super bitter,
Okay, like
right? It's going to like make you kind of
like a little peat.
squeeze your teeth together.
More the peat, like an
Yes.
Islay whiskey, like a Scotch. But it's got to be American,
Well,
though,
but
right?
this is in the. I'm going an IPA, right?
Oh,
just
there we
some
go. There we
Really, really high hop double IPA,
Are
which
we-
I feel like
so
I'm
high
probably giving that
ABV,
answer.
high pot. Okay.
Yeah, I'm giving that answer for every movie, but yes, this one, it's a kind of a sipping beer.
See, I don't know. I think it's quick drinking, man. That freaking the dialogue. You're just drinking and smoking the
sure.
whole time.
I don't know. I think I'm kind of with Pat beer wise.
Okay.
Like in one of the ones they will only give you 12 ounces of.
Ooh, good. That's
that comes
good.
in the
Yeah.
snifter
Yeah.
shaped one, or maybe like a Manhattan up.
Oh, Manhattan. That's good. Manhattan's good.
For a whiskey type beverage.
Now, it does take place in San Francisco. I know we were kind of drawn to this whole New York concept just because it feels like, Al Capone, but it literally has the Golden Gate Bridge is freaking shown right before, and you look out their window and you see the Golden Gate Bridge. So, like,
I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
speaking
they're
of
by
that,
the river quite a bit.
by the river.
and we should end this podcast. But I did find it charming that in the olden days, if something was within the city you lived in, you just wrote "city" on an envelope,
That's great.
which apparently is how it worked. You didn't have to write
That would
where,
be
like
cool.
we know
Yeah.
the city.
Mm-hmm.
But good stuff. Good rec.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
watch.
no, it was a good watch. I was very happy we did this because I thought I'd seen it before, but I had not, and it was very like, oh, this is well done. Way to go,
I
John
certainly
Huston.
hadn't seen it since Casablanca, so it
Yeah,
was nice to go back.
Because I've seen Casablanca so many times, so I was like, this is, I understand, but it also is still not as good as Casablanca. I'm just gonna say that.
I don't know about that.
It's Casablanca.
We'll
Casablanca's on my top 20. This
We'll
one
see
is
what
not.
ends up on the
All right.
list.
Sounds good. All right. Until then, guys, thank you for listening. We are How to Be a Movie Snob podcast. We appreciate you listening. And we hope to hear from you and tell you what movie snobs, what movies we should be watching and listening to or whatever. But in the
With our
meantime,
eyes and our ears.
we join us next week when we reveal the top 20 movies of all time
For
ever
us.
for us.
So far.
That's
At this point
you're
in our life.
killing me, Mariah. You're killing me. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye. Bye.